Okay, so it was just last month when Salisbury University student Martina Maya Callan joined us here in historic Studio D to tell us about her mission to promote body acceptance.
As part of that mission, Martina sometimes puts on a nude bodysuit and encourages people to write on her positive messages of body image. Martina says her passion stems from her own struggle with an eating disorder, which she says started after she was molested at a young age.
Now, Martina is a powerful example of fighting back, of taking a horrific experience and actually turning it into something that can help and even empower others. So maybe you've gone through something similar. Well, just like Martina's, your voice can have power too. Here today to explain is the resident director at Salisbury University. This is Eileen Harrington. Eileen, thank you so much for coming.
Happy to be here.
Wonderful having you. Okay, so we're talking about a Take Back the Night Vigil. What is that?
So essentially it's done at multiple colleges and universities all around in different countries and in states. And essentially what it is, it's empowering students and the community to come together and really talk about their experiences or have a personal expression that allows them to show support to that community or just build awareness and understanding of what it means to be a victim of sexual assault or sexual violence.
Why is it important to have events like this?
I think with in the news we're talking a lot about the Me Too campaign and Time's Up, so I think that students are really excited to really come together and just be surrounded by others that is in a supportive community, that they can really express who they are and really learn from each other.
So this is really something that is needed because sexual violence is prevalent.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that Salisbury University is working on and we're working towards is having Take Back the Night as well as other events that are going on campus. We're also doing a 5K run that is geared towards awareness as well as a movie showing with a panel discussion afterwards that's open to the community so we can talk through and have that empowerment piece but also that educational piece because there's a lot of awareness that's being talked about, and we're really trying to gear it towards the community and towards students so they can take away a lot from the experience and learn something and learn how to be a good bystander.
I imagine it's important for victims to come forward and talk about their experiences. Is it hard to get them to do that?
It's all student-based, so we do not force anyone to share their story that doesn't want to, and I think that in the past we've had students that have come forward that have spoken about different experiences they had in childhood all the way up to previous years, but we never put emphasis that they have to speak. It's a very supportive environment where they can come up and wherever they feel led, they can really talk through and it's a supportive environment. If they want to express in a song or a story or a written word, this event really allows them to do that. So I think it's just a matter of giving the power back to the students and making sure that they feel supported in the Salisbury community.
So then for those who are shy or ashamed or embarrassed, it is important for them to know that they do have a strong voice.
Yes, absolutely. I think that a lot of what we work on is empowering the students, but making sure that they are leading where that process goes. So I know our Office of Institutional Equity does a really good job of working with housing and residence life. If a student is a survivor of a sexual assault, they're never forced to tell their story in a way that in a public forum that they wouldn't want to. So and a lot of students that have come out to this event that have left, they say that they feel empowered and supported, and it's an environment where they can really express who they are.
You mentioned the Me Too movement and Time's Up and everything. Do you hope that, is there a hope that the people who are maybe have not come to an event like this previously, seeing these movements might come to yours? Yeah,
absolutely. We invite everyone from the community to come to all these events that we're doing, and you don't necessarily have to be a victim of sexual violence or sexual assault to come out. It's such an empowering movement that's happening, and just kind of seeing people tell their stories or sing a song or write a poem that they feel so passionate about is absolutely beautiful. So if anyone is kind of like, I don't understand, or I don't quite know what this means, that's okay. We want you there. I think it's so important to just kind of be a part of something that you might not fully understand, but please come out and we can show you what it means, how to be a good bystander, and just learn from each other.
Events like this really do make a difference.
They do. Yes, absolutely.
All right, well, let's go through the when and where of Take Back the Night. It is Wednesday, April 11th. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. at Holloway Hall.
Yes.
It's at Salisbury University on Camden Avenue. Yeah. Eileen Harrington, the resident director at Salisbury University. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing this. It's very important.